You might be asking yourself, what is a rebel wolf and what has it got to do with gaming? Well, apparently, a rebel wolf is a Polish person that's got nothing to do with Cyberpunk 2077 anymore. In fact, what came true about this statement right here, and this is from a while ago, this is back in October, it says Cyberpunk 2077 director admits CD Projekt Red's reputation may never fully recover from game's disastrous launch, but he remains optimistic. We need to show up, is what he says. Well, they showed up all right. Despite publicly available information, CD Projekt Red CEO claims that Cyberpunk 2077 studio does not do DEI driven recruitment. And of course, that was proven wrong. The Cyberpunk and The Witcher studio, CG Projekt Red, expands playtesting program to the US, but only for applicants who fit the right gamer profile. Finally, just a few days ago, we got this information here. It says CD Projekt Red's modern agenda and history of unfinished launches threaten to ruin The Witcher 4. And this, of course, is referencing how they promised to change the lore with this new Witcher installment, as well as remove things that they felt were outdated. And we all know what that means. They already got rid of the cards of your lovers from that game, which, again, I mean, I know you're not playing the game for that, but it was a humanizing touch that Gerald kept a memory of every woman that he had an intimate time with, I guess you might say. I'm not sure. It's one of those things that really does explain why this studio here is called Rebel Wolves. Now, following the thumbnail and the title, you know that these are ex-developers who used to run with the pack over at CD Projekt Red. Now, what's interesting about CD Projekt Red that a lot of people kind of forget is that they are a Polish-based company, right? They're in Poland, all right? And one thing you might not know about the Polish, I don't know how you missed this, is that they don't really do well with hostile enterprises occupying the space that they consider theirs. And so when you see the title Rebel Wolves, this is very much a shovel in the face of the multinational attitudes that took over CD Projekt Red. It's not spelt with a K to be cute, guys. They're Polish. That's how you spell it over there. And so the situation is that this gaming company, just right on its face with its pure branding identity, this right here, this breakaway from the pack, if you will, these rebel wolves, they are saying that they are just pang right in the face. We're not part of your group anymore. We're out here on our own. We're doing our own thing. And so, again, you can feel about that however you like. You can feel if that's a smart idea or not to go out there and make your identity about breaking away from your bosses. I don't know. I'm sure there's quite a few studios that we respect today that got their name from pissing off their former boss. I'm sure that that was a thing at some point in history. But now, let's find out about this studio, okay? Now, I'm sure you're seeing a lot of screenshots going around, but let's break this down, all right? So they say right here, Rebel Wolves is a new studio, but our team has years of experience working on some of the most critically acclaimed video games of all time. We co-created titles such as The Witcher 3, Cyberpunk 2077, and many others. We decided to create our own studio and run it on our own terms. Well, there it is. There's more indication that they were sick and tired of how these multinational corporation, this multinational attitude rather, was shaping their corporation, was shaping their workplace. Again, I talk about this all the time. It's passion. It's passion over product. Okay. You will get a superior product if you bring people in who are passionate. But if you're just there to put out a product because it's got to have this, and this in it, well, it's not about the passion that brought that to life anymore. It's about the product that's coming out of it, and that's wrong. That's backwards. I guarantee you, every game that started out one way finished its development almost 180 degrees different. That's how ideas work. They start off with a very basic concept and then explode into something wildly different from what their parent seed idea was, okay? If you're any kind of talented creator, that is, if you're not some derivative hack. Which, again, it would appear that CD Projekt Red has become because these people right here on screen, these people right here have abandoned that company and done so explosively. The identity of this new company they've made is all about breaking away from CD Projekt Red. And so they say this about that whole thing. They say, chief among this, the team comes first always. Happy people make great games. Game players want to and deserve this. They make great games that the players deserve, is how that's supposed to be worded. And yes, it's as simple as that. So again, this expressed a lot of frustration. This is nice formal language. This isn't like those effers over there took our F and S. It's nothing that. It's nothing like that, right? It has more to do with the fact that they're frustrated in a professional manner, and they're trying to like really express that this is not the leadership of CD Projekt Red. So this is giving us kind of a viewpoint, because these are pretty high powered people. You wait till we get down into who's in this studio. These are people that were the backbone of what got CD Projekt Red off the ground. Okay, so here we have it. We're industry veterans, but we're hungry for more. We want to create amazing visual worlds filled to the brim with powerful emotions and unique experiences. Most of all, we want to share our boundless passion for video games. We know what players love because we're players ourselves. How about that? Remember when we found out that Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed team is making a video, half that team rather, is making a video game for the very first time? Like, consider for a minute, like, if you're into video games, you would have made one, right? You would have made one on your own little like RPG maker. Everybody made an RPG, had an RPG maker RPG. I had one with the Power Rangers. We're in back in Isekai times, way back before Isekai was a thing. I just thought it would be cool if the Power Rangers were back in the Knights, like the Mystic Knights times. You remember Mystic Knights? Well, I did that in RPG Maker. It sucked really bad, but I was really proud that I did it on my own. These people haven't even done that. All they did was they went to college to get filled full of propaganda, and that's who Ubisoft sucked right up. Just like that. And that's who these people are calling out by creating this whole studio. We're currently working on our own AAA IP story-driven RPG saga for PCs and next-gen consoles. We're humbled by the interest, and we'll share more as soon as we can. Thank you for your patience. It'll be worth it. Now, again, I will bring that up at the end of our discussion here. They've already got a game, okay? That's how quickly this came together. These people were not 10 years in the process of launching this studio. They did it. They had a product ready to go, so they weren't like that Mass Effect director that was like, look at us. We have an office space, and we have our cute little outfits that we're going to post on social media about, and we have our own little lunchroom. None of that. They were like, we have a space. People code in here. Sometimes the lights are on when we do that. Sometimes the lights are off. The end. Again, the slobs, they're pretty like, boom, right into it, right? You got to appreciate that about the Slavs. They're very much like the Japanese. They seek efficiency in almost a brutal fashion. So I really appreciate how they're just like, boom, we're to it. We got our game ready to go already. We're not out here trying to like cheerlead on any agenda. We're here to make games. And you got to appreciate that. Like I said, we'll get into that one just a minute here when we get down through here. But this is what they want to talk about in regards to how they want to make games. This helps us clarify what they've made when I show it to you in a minute. We're currently working on our own AAA RPG, a first title of a planned saga. And though we're dying to tell you more, that's all we can share at this point. It's frustrating, we know, okay? But let's talk about what we want the game to be, okay? How we're approaching making it and what we're striving to achieve with it, okay? So number 1, we consider games to be a form of art, and real art has ambition. That we have in spades. We want to tell stories which shake you to the core, draw you in, make you second guess your instincts. We want to create a truly immersive experience, an experience you will remember and continue to recall long after the credits roll. Now, again, I guarantee you that making you second guess your instincts thing is that a man or a woman? It's not going to make you ask that question. I don't think that's on their agenda. So, number 2 here is we believe games must be fun. We aim to create meaty, dynamic gameplay systems which will bring a breath of fresh air to RPG games. You will immediately understand how they work and then spend hours playing to create the best build. All right? And now that's pretty cool, right? They are right there to be involved in like the mud of it, right? They're not interested in copy and pasting game mechanics from a previous iteration, like we saw with the Assassin's Creed Shadows development, that they accidentally let us know that they were copy and pasting the leap mechanisms from Assassin's Creed 3. Yeah, the whole animation is the same thing. When you see Naue diving off the rooftop there in Japan, it is Connor diving off a rooftop in Boston or something. I don't know, Philadelphia, whatever. But that's the same animation. These guys right here are saying, "Nope, that's not it. We're here to create something unique that you're gonna wanna play. It might not be in the next game." So that's pretty unique. That's pretty interesting, and again, that's what used to make games interesting. There's stuff in the old Sonic games that you don't have in the new ones, right? When Sonic became 3D, that became a completely different ball of wax. Same thing that happened with Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat took on an entirely new attitude when it became a 3D affair. Granted, it kept its bones, right? It kept what it was supposed to do, but it's a wildly different game now than it was when it was on your arcade, on the cabinet at your local arcade. And now here's number 3 with them. We think games should make the most of interactivity, offer you as much freedom as possible. Our goal is to give you plenty of ways to solve a problem and then let you have a go at it. There will be no right or wrong way to play the game. It'll be up to you to decide what is your way. Now, again, we saw this with what happened with Dragon Age the Veilguard, where they were punishing people who chose to be heterosexuals by limiting the amount of characters they could pair with. Now, again, that's kind of sad that Dragon Age became just, another dating simulator, I guess, for fantasy enthusiasts. Probably be a nice way to say it. But of course, we found it full of like you could have trans mode on, where you got an entirely different dialogue chain than other players. So if you're a completionist, you were kind of forced into doing a trans mode in order to completely complete the game, have a 100% record with the game. And that's not what these people want to do right here. Rebel Wolves has made it clear right now that they want to make sure that you have multiple ways to play this game that are just as satisfying as a different way, as the first way you played. So again, like you remember in these early PlayStation games, you remember in the early Nintendo GameCube games where they had like multiple endings you could achieve. I think there was like I think David Cage. Yeah, David Cage had this whole thing about like Detroit Become Human wasn't the only one he ever did. I think it was Heavy Rain was one that had like a decision tree, I think is what it was called. And the decision tree would like point you down. You'd get different results every time you played the game until like all the decision trees had been explored that were programmed into the game. So like you had multiple different activities that were going on that you didn't get if you just played it straight through the first time with no side quests. So that's again, that's an interesting concept that they might be bringing something like the decision tree back in that you have more than one outcome to the game that you're playing so that a replay would quite literally feel like a brand new game to you. So again, you'll have to decide for yourself, right? You'll have to decide for yourself, but it's time to find out who's behind this. Now, again, we're going to keep it short and sweet here because the cast is not somebody I'm familiar with because I don't know Polish game developers very well, but these names might be important to you and I'm going to slaughter them because I don't possess a Polish dialect. So when I pronounce these names, I'm doing my best. I mean, no offense whatsoever by mispronouncing them or anything whatsoever. If it sounds strange coming out of my mouth, I'm very sorry. I just want to get that ahead of the time. So it says, we're experts, we're focused, we're loyal. Those are the first lines of each paragraph that they've got there. And so I think that's very important. The rest of that's kind of fluffy stuff that they want to talk about, like the inter dynamics of the team. It's great. So let's get down to the people here. So right here we have Conrad uh, Thomas Kiesewitz. Kiesewicz. Yeah, I think that's how you say that. He's the CEO and game director. We have Daniel Sadowski. He's the game designer. We have Jacob Smizlek. Sazmalek. I think that's how you say that. He's the narrative director and main writer. We have Tomas Tink. I think that's how you teach. Maybe it's Tish. Maybe that C makes a sh noise. You have to let me know. But he's the chief publishing officer. And we've got wow. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not really sure how to approach that one. I didn't pre-read these names because I was confident that they were going to be, familiar to me. But Bartolomej Gawal, Gawal. You're going to have to correct me down there. Please feel free to do that. I absolutely want to learn these names because I have a feeling we're going to be talking about these people a lot. They have, as they showed in their little mission statement there at the beginning, that little brief at the beginning. I'm not saying it's little as insignificant. It's just little as in it's short, because who's got time, But they've got that right there. That really just takes the task where they've just exited from. They're making it very clear that this is not a multinational minded kind of corporation. This is a gaming minded corporation. So we have Tomáš Wojcik. I think that's how it Wojcik. Maybe it's Wojcik. He's the CTO. We have Michael Bjorka. Yeah, Mikhail Bjorka, and he's the CFO. We have Prismislaw Prismislaw Wojcik. I think it's Wojcik with a V there. Executive producer. And we have Robert Merzanowski. He's the studio head. We have Marta Grebiish, maybe with a C. I'm not sure. And then Isabella Samel Kawalik. She's the HR manager. I'm sorry, it's Marta is the general counsel. So again, these are people that left CD Projekt RED. These are obviously people who are very well qualified to be in the positions they are. And as they explained earlier, they're the developers behind these games that made CD Projekt RED what it is before this interest in all of these like BlackRock Vanguard concerns started coming through and spoiling the workplace. And so I think that's fantastic. And now that you know that who's here, guess what? They have a game ready to go, and it's called The Blood of Dawnwalker. Now, there's a trailer for this, but I don't want to take the risk of getting struck for showing it, so I'll put a link down to it in the description below, and you guys can follow along with the development. Apparently, a month from now, there'll be like an official announcement, big boom kind of announcement about this that lets you know what the game is actually about, what the gameplay is like. Maybe there's a gameplay trailer, excuse me, like an actual, just not, yeah, a gameplay trailer. Right now, there's just kind of a buzz reel. So, this is the Blood of Dawnwalker. It appears to be set in the fantasy realm. It appears to have like some. I think there's a picture right here. Yeah. So it appears to have some kind of connotation with maybe like a werewolf or some type of creature of the night that has the glowy spooky eyes. And so probably a character that has something to do with werewolves, I'm going to guess. Probably a character that has something to do with European monsters. I'm not entirely sure what goes bump in the night in Poland, but I'm pretty sure it's probably something like that this guy is afflicted by. And so you'll probably have like some sort of gameplay dynamic where you potentially lose control of the character for a duration of time. I'm just guessing again, because they said there'd be many ways to play this, and that would be a very interesting dynamic that you had to keep your morality meter at a certain level, or else you'd transform into a bad guy. That's an interesting concept. But again, I don't know. We'll have to wait till the end of January to find out what they're up to, because it says it's going to be available here in 29 days. Which again, that's toward the end of January there. That's probably January 27th or something like that, right there at the end of January. So again, good news all around. I'm one of these people that believes that if there's more game studios that are made up of people who are passionate about games, that's better than having just a few game studios that are full to the brim with hundreds of thousands of people who are passionate about games. I think voices get lost when you have a army of developers. I think voices get lost when you have 10 years worth of development behind a game because the initial concept is completely lost its grip at that point. Whatever inspired it has long become dustbinned by just, society's consciousness. So that's really a big issue, and I'm really glad that they've come out, they've got a game, they're ready to swing with it, they're ready to go. So that's fantastic that this studio is not sitting around trying, like I said at the beginning, to cheerlead any type of agenda. They're out here to make games. They're very proud of what they do, and they're already developing this right here, The Blood of Dawnwalker. So look forward to it. I'm not much of a fantasy guy, but Skyrim got me for quite a while. Maybe this will get me too. I don't know. It certainly seems like something that someone who is fantasy, like a fan of fantasy, would really be into. It has that ye olde European look to it, as well as like the ancient evil kind of look to it as well. And so they appear to be like tapping on what's popular in the current market. Maybe we're looking at a competitor to The Witcher. Maybe we're looking at that. These are the developers, so why not? If The Witcher's going down in flames, you might as well pick up where it left off, right? It's not like that IP was a bad idea. It's just people on board it decided to sink it. We'll have to wait and see, guys. You'll have to let me know what you think down in the comments below. But as always, guys, good luck out there.